Now, look, this video applies to a very specific type of woman. The woman that I like to call the gluckety glucks. The women with that God-given talent to do the double monkey backflips with a spinner Rooney on your dizzy. Okay, the women with that what I like to call the freaky leaks. Okay, so this doesn't apply for the girl from Maria from the small village who wants a relationship. Okay, from fucking the Mormon white girl that fucking shines because how white she is from Utah. This works for a very specific type of woman who has a special talent. So if you're after that type of woman, well, this is a type of video. And in fact, a lot of us like them. We get frustrated because these are the types of women that say, I don't do this much, and then leave us with our minds blown, and then we never see them again. Right? These are the types of women that are I like to call the helicoptertakis, the disorganized attachment style who have strict parents, right? Women who never who got tough love from their fathers, whose father treated them like boys. This happens a lot. I call it the Helga Pataki type. That they love Arnold, but in reality, they manifest their love through toughness because they don't want to show up vulnerability. So this is very specific, okay? And we all want to know these types of women because these are the women that blow our minds. Like I said, these are the types of women that say, I usually don't do this. If you hear that from a girl, prepare yourself because you're about to get your mind blown. All right. If you guys want to learn more about this, become a Patreon supporter by clicking on the description down below. We post more videos. And if you guys want to learn even more about this, just book a phone call with me, man. I study psychology in school. I'm not a random motherfucker, right? And let's begin.
I know signs that she likes you more than you think. She goes back and forth with you. One moment she loves you, the next she's rejecting you. I know it feels confusing, but
Confused attachment style.
women's insecurities can get very deep sometimes, and it's easier to create distance instead of creating communication.
Because that's what the father did, right? These are the types of women whose father was very difficult, very strong, all right? And so they identify male love with distance and tough love. So with these types of women, you got to put them in their place. That's why a lot of the times they fall for pimps because pimps are very straightforward, cold, right? And that coldness and that distance, they relate to it as maternal love, and it activates a chase instinct in her where she'll want to seek his validation because it was very similar to that. That's why you got to give your girls love.
And a lot of women struggle with hiding their feelings because they believe being fully vulnerable will cause them to get abandoned.
This is very similar to Helga Pataki. Helga Pataki. Look at her dad. Her dad was really strict on her. And so to show anytime, hey, Arnold was really soft with Helga. And anytime he was soft to her, she reacted with meanness because she doesn't want to show her vulnerability because in her life, vulnerable got her, punished, right? Vulnerability never was rewarded in her life. So these types of women, you got to identify them by their exterior. They have a very tough exterior. So you got to be tough with them. But once you get that toughness, once you're able to get through the toughness, you realize that she becomes really submissive.
The next one is
I'm not going to talk as
she's
much later.
very worried of how you think about her. Like, a lot of women, the reason why they don't like it when men don't trust them is because they know the type of women that men don't trust. So when you're placing her in that same box, she's thinking, what am I doing wrong for him to think this way of me? Like, he thinks I'm talking to other guys because I didn't text him for a day or three
Yeah,
days or
motherfucker.
whatever. Like,
Yeah.
why does he think I'm like that when I've already proven to him that I like him, that I'm
No,
interested in him?
no, no, no.
And she doesn't realize the reason you're questioning her is more of your own mindset rather than her own actions. Sometimes it's hard for her to realize the only reason.
Yeah, yeah. It's this is why you have to be a type of guy who's ready for this type of woman. Not every guy's going to be able to deal with this type of confusing behavior.
You're asking this is because you care, but behind that care There's not a level of trust or security, and that's what hurts her deeply. This might not be something that she's able to verbalize because even if you're questioning her, it still feels like an attack. And it's hard to tell a man, hey,
Well, she can't verbalize it because her the father figure growing up never verbalized his emotions too. Again, it comes from strict parents. Again, I always tell Helga Pataki is a perfect example of that. She comes from a very strict household, right? I think so, right? I mean, let's we're
you're
gonna look into it once
attacking
she's
me
done.
when you're asking me if I'm talking to other guys, because it's like, why would I be talking to other guys when I'm literally talking with you? Like, I don't care if I didn't text you for a day. Like, I've been talking with you. I've continued things with you. Why are you creating these situations? Why are you forcing me to think about this? Why are you forcing me to think about other guys by bringing it up to me? You know what I mean? For
Yeah. And before we go to part two, um, let's look at this psychological breakdown from ChatGPT about Helga Pataki, right? Because again, there's a lot of Helga Patakis out there, and I can promise you, Helga Pataki grew up to be a freaking leak. Because when you can't connect emotionally, you connect physically with an emotional distance. It becomes your equivalent. A lot of these girls sometimes become addicted to having sex without condoms because having sex without condoms is an equivalent of emotional closeness if you can't do it emotionally. Helga Pataki's relationship with her father, Robert Big Bob, Big Bob, so I'm a big motherfucker, I'm strong, I'm a man, is defined by significant emotional neglect and lack of attention. Big Bob is a workaholic beeper salesman who is largely oblivious to Helga's existence, focusing almost his attention and high expectation on her older, perfect sister, Olga. Key aspects of their relationship. Neglect. Bob frequently forgets Helga's name. Crazy shit. Often mistaking her for Olga, sometimes the girl. He is often engrossed in his business and watching TV, rarely noticing her and contributing her deep feelings of worthlessness. Insecurity. Favoritism. Bob openly favors Olga. So with this type of girl, who are tough on the outside, just compare her to somebody else, and you'll have her. She'll get pissed off, but her pissed offness is a sign that she likes you. Communication breakdown. Helga's rarely addresses her father as dad, typically calls him Bob and Big Bob. Lack of emotions, like lack of expression, emotion, and nurturing. Their interaction often brief and ends in conflict. Subtle care. So this briefness also can lead to having a lot of sex partners. Subtle care. Despite his boorish, self-centered personality, there are rare, subtle moments where Bob shows he does care for Helga, such as watching wrestling with her and coming through for her on few occasions. So with Helga, she becomes a tomboy because she notices developing manly traits get her dad's attention. So this rough exterior is an attempt to win her over. The emotional neglect from her father and her inattentive, possibly alcoholic mother, right? So that's a possibility that she hates the female gender because of how pathetic her mother is. So she neglects her femininity, and so she identifies more with her masculinity because it gets her closer to her father, who she wants to win over, and her mother she doesn't really respect. Her harsh nature serves as a protective mechanism to hide her vulnerability and desire for love and attention. In essence, Helga's father's treatment of her is central element in understanding her complex character. Exactly right, and that's how it is, man. Like it's like women like this, yeah, they do that, and it's like because they never really got shown love, right? And a lot of guys are like that too. To be honest with you, if you want to learn more about this, check out my course Dark Game. We go about it in a psychological way, and to all the guys saying stop talking, shut the fuck up.